So in last classes, we have started discussing about the collection and then collections. So what is a collection? Definition, please. What is a collection? Collection is a container which stored the group of individual objects. Collection is interface or a class. Collection is an interface. And what about collections? The classes which will implement the interfaces are nothing but collections. So this is a class. So out of which, how many collection interfaces are there? So along with this collection, there are 9 interfaces were there, and you should be knowing the names. Yeah. In a proper order, when it comes to one of these such implemented interface or the child interface of this collection, set. What are the other interface of this set? Interfaces. Sorted set, and then followed by navigable set. Tree set is not an interface. I'm asking only interfaces. Then after this set, there is one more interface, list. Any child interfaces for this list? No. Third interface, queue. Any child interface for this one? No. So these are the 6 interfaces that we have, which are the child interface of the collection. Collection is a parent interface and the 5 child interfaces. Then the next interface, which is not a child of collection, map. And what are the child interface of this map? Sorted map, which is same as like this. Just for remembering, I'm just comparing. Sorted map, and then followed by navigable map. Okay. Next, what are the implemented classes? I don't write the names, just write the short forms. What are the implemented classes for this set interface? Has set, linked asset, then followed by, for navigable set and sorted set, there is a common class name called tree set. Next, for list, array list, linked list, doubly linked list is no. Yeah, vector, and then followed by one more is stack. Stack is a direct implementation of this list interface, or it's a child of any of these. Yeah. It's child of vector, stack. Next, for a queue. For a queue, any implemented classes? DQ. So there is something called as DQ, and this part and this part we are not going to discuss much. And next, for this map interface, what are the implemented classes? Hash map and linked hash map. And for this sorted map and navigable, there is a tree map. For these last, there is a tree map, TM. Out of these, any legacy class are there? What do you mean by legacy classes? The classes which are there from Java 1.0 version onwards. So they are nothing but these 2 classes are legacy classes in this list. Okay. The classes which are there from Java 1.0 version onwards, still we are having these things. So that's why we call them as a legacy classes. So this is what the basic introduction that we have. And then followed by what is the purpose of these 3 interfaces? Why we need 3? What are the properties of set? Set is an ordered or unordered collection? Unordered collection. Set allows duplicates or no? Set doesn't allow duplicates. Then when it comes to list, list is an ordered collection and allows duplicates. List allows duplicates. What about this map? Yeah, for this set and list, we can store individual objects, but by using this map, we can store a pair of objects. That's why whatever the methods that we discussed as a parent collection interface, this has how many methods? 12 methods. We discussed now. Add all, remove all, retain, clear, size, and all those things. There were 12 methods. All these 12 methods which are present in collection interface were applied to the child interface of this collection only, not to the map. Because these all are individual objects, but here is a pair of objects. The story is different. Okay? And with these collections, what is the corresponding problem? If you use this hash set in the form of collection, and then list, linked hash set, and a tree set, array list, linked list, hash map, linked hash map, tree map. If we use them as a collection format, then there is a big concern. In the last class we discussed. Collections were not recommended because of two problems. What is the first problem? Yeah, one major problem with collections is nothing but type safety. What is the meaning of this type safety? All these allows homogeneous elements or heterogeneous elements. All of these. Yeah, except tree set allows only homogeneous kind of data, and a tree map also homogeneous kind of data. The remaining all allows both homogeneous as well as heterogeneous also. So because of that kind of combination of homogeneous and heterogeneous data or objects, then there is a problem of type safety. We cannot make sure that this hash set contains what kind of data. So we discussed yesterday with some real-time example of sending mails to all the some 1 lakh mails collection. Probably we may add some numbers, names. Then because of that, entire system is going to fail, or entire application is going to fail. Then because of type safety, that problem is. Then what is the solution? To avoid this problem, what is the solution? So instead of collections, we'll be going for a which concept? Only few are active. Generics concept. So in which version this generics have come? In which version? From Java 1.5 version onwards, this generics concept has come. And once this generics has come, then we don't use the collections as a direct collection as a heterogeneous kind of data. We mostly go for generics where homogeneous kind of data to achieve the type safety. Along with this generics, what else is added in 1.5 version? For collection, there is one more support is added. We discussed in the yesterday's class. There is a support of for each loop also. For each loop support also added in from Java 1.5 version onwards. Then after this, we discussed about the collection framework. What is generally a framework means? Group of predefined interfaces, implemented classes, corresponding methods, and also some predefined algorithms like search, swap, sort, and all those things. So that is what a framework is. In framework, we have interfaces and the corresponding implemented classes, which are implementing the respective interfaces there, and then followed by the some predefined methods and predefined algorithms. That is where the difference from collections to arrays. Arrays doesn't have any predefined method support, but collections has the predefined method support. As a programmer, which method we have to use in the right context. That much only we should aware of. We are not bothered to write any logic. So this is what the glimpse of what we discussed in the last classes. Then to go with the generics and to understand more about this set interface and the corresponding implemented classes, why we need 3? So before that, there are 2 common points. So what is the first common point? Before we go for individual discussion of set, list, and map, the first common point is every collection class by default. Means as a programmer, we don't need to write anything as explicit implementation. Every collection class by default implements 2 interfaces. Anybody aware of? Every collection class implements 2 interfaces. One is serializable interface. And one more interface, clonable. So these are the two interfaces which will be by default implemented by every Java's collection class. Then what is the purpose of this serializable interface and also clonable interface? This serializable interface is nothing but generally whenever we send collection data, if you are having some collection which is nothing but a group of objects together. So if you have some collection of elements, say object 1, 2, 3, 4, something. These are not numbers, some object numbers I'm just listing. It can be any kind of data. When we are sending this collection data over whatever is the possible medium. It can be through database, it can be through a mail or any other possible services there from one place to another place. The same collection has to be handed over to from one person to other person. Correct? So in this situation, to transport these things, to transport this collection data from one place to another place, the interface which will be used is serializable interface. So over serializable interface implementation will provide this option of transporting this collection data from one place to another place. So for that reason, it is applicable for every collection class that is serializable interface. Next, am I clear with this? What is clonable? What is the requirement of this clonable? Here, one more point we have to understand. We discuss the difference between collections and also arrays. Correct or not? What is the next possible place where we can store some data? Yeah, database. So there is one more thing as the database, correct? Why we don't use databases? Why we'll use collections only over arrays and also over databases? Database is a permanent storage device or temporary storage device. Database stores the data permanently. It's a permanent storage location or storage container. Therefore, whenever we collect these elements in the form of a database, into a database, then our memory will be wasted or not. So once I have collected some elements or some objects and my purpose of this collection is over, I have sent some mails or whatever is the transaction to do, I'm done with my job of collection. Then this collection data should be removed from the memory or it should be there permanently. It should be taken away so that memory will be optimized. Then what about databases if we use instead of collections? Then this data will be a permanently storage container as a database. Our collection data will be permanently stored. Therefore, unnecessary memory consumption, even though the purpose of collection is over. That's the reason where we don't prefer databases. We prefer only collections, which is a temporary storage device at the same time growable in nature. So because of those two major advantages, we prefer collections over arrays. We prefer collections over databases. Yeah. Then why I am discussing at clonable this database concept is it is same as like database. Same as like database. Whenever we request some data from this database, whenever we request some data, assume that from your local computer, there is some database and here some data is there and you are sending a request from your computer with some HTTP, some request. You are sending that request to the corresponding database. This database will process your request. As a client, we are sending some request from your browser. Then that request will go to corresponding database. The request will be processed in this. And based on database languages, you'll get corresponding output or result. Then this result will come to your client system in the form of what? As a response, but directly we don't get it. We don't get directly to the client as this data, but this copy of whatever is the result will come and store in temporary container. It's a temporary. That's nothing but your duplicate copy of a collection. A temporary copy of a collection. Then from the same as a client, we receive the required result or output. Whatever is generated from this database, same thing will be stored in a temporary copy as a one more collection. Then from here, we get some data into the client. Then what is the reason behind this? Why don't we get directly as a response from server to client? Because it is like something, whenever your friend has mailed his or her resume, yeah, you have modified something. You have modified something and you have saved it for permanently. Then after some time you realize that it is some of your friends' data is there in your resume also. Like some of the previous experience, some project data. Or you thought of modifying everything somewhere, you didn't modify the data, but let us assume. Then can you get the original copy once you save it for your changes? No, we don't get it. We don't get the original copy once you make the changes and you save it. Yeah, maybe control Z will work, but for that time only. Once you completely close and reopen, we cannot modify the data in that. Then in that situation, what we have to do? You have to request a friend again to send the resume once again. Otherwise, you go to the same mail and you'll you'll download the previous mail resume. Again, you'll be starting modifying the entire thing. That having a copy in the mail or having a copy in the WhatsApp is nothing but something like a backup for us. If I make some changes in this data, which I received in the client, then during this process, we may make some mistakes possibly. And we might have saved those mistakes also unknowingly. Then in that situation, we always look for a original copy or previous copy of the same thing so that I can restart doing my work without any of these mistakes. So in that situation, to have a copy of this collection, then this is nothing but a clonable interface will be used. Clonable interface will make a duplicate copy of every collection object by default. To avoid any possible mistakes, to revert back to the original copy, this clonable interface will be implemented by every Java class. So this is the reason behind why serializable to transport your collection data and why clonable to have a duplicate copy. Possibly, if we make any mistakes, we can use the previous copy once again and we can start doing the required things in this. That's the reason behind why clonable interface is implemented. Am I clear? Any questions? And I don't mention for every collection class. This is by default for every collection class which we are going to discuss. All the 8 classes which we are going to discuss. It is not only database, even your collection also. If you get a collection, even this person also will receive one copy with the help of clonable, and on the duplicate copy will be making the changes and will be doing some necessary actions on that. The original copy will be maintained by this clonable interface. To support that clonability, so we have a clonable interface. Cloning is nothing but exact duplicate of original. Yeah, clear? Clear. Please respond. Is it clear or any questions? I can say simply a pointer, but the meaning also, this is the meaning. And why we need this? Probably we may make mistakes. That naturally happens. The next we'll go for the first set and the corresponding implemented classes and why we need 3. So for this, set is one interface. What are the properties of this set? Like we discussed in the last class. Set is an unordered collection of elements. Unordered collection of objects. Allows duplicates, doesn't allow. Set doesn't allow duplicates. Next, index-based operations are not possible. So when it comes to set, which is a child interface of collection as a parent interface, then what are the methods which are there in this exclusively set interface? Set interface will get all the parent interface methods which are there in the collection, but as a set interface, it doesn't have any methods. No extra methods in this set. It means it exactly uses whatever is present in the collection interface as a set. But when it comes to sorted set, which is implemented by tree set, then there are some extra methods which were added. But as a set interface, no extra methods. What are the corresponding implemented classes of this set interface? One is hash set, and then followed by linked hash set, then followed by tree set. What is one common property for all these things? When it comes to these three, the set properties will be applicable for these three. So what is the first one? All these three things are doesn't allow duplicates. Hash set doesn't allow duplicates. Even linked hash set also doesn't allow duplicates. And tree set also doesn't allow duplicates. What second property? Ordered collection or unordered collection? Set is an unordered collection, but what about this hash set? Is it same as an interface property or anything is changed in this? It is nothing but also unordered collections. Next, when it comes to linked asset is a ordered collection. So somewhere, if the situation is like we don't want duplicates, but I want some insertion order. So as a programmer, we are inserting some data as in the form of objects in particular order. Say I want some A, B, C, D, E in the same order only whenever I retrieve or whenever we print it. So in that situation, if we go for hash set, one property is okay for me, satisfied. That is nothing but it should not allow duplicates. It's a common for all these things. Where the first hash set is nothing but it's unordered collection of objects. But if at all we need a requirement of no duplicates but with insertion order, then it's a nothing but linked hash set is the concept where we have to go for. That's the difference between why when we should use hash set, order doesn't matter, duplicates are not allowed. Then we should go for hash set concept. And linked hash set, when we should go for duplicate should not be allowed, but order matters. As a programmer, insertion order is required for me. Then we should go for linked asset concept. That's why the second difference from second point here. It is an ordered collection. It is a combination of set and list. Doesn't allow duplicates and order must be preserved. So that's where we go for linked asset concept. What about reset? Ordered or unordered? All of you. Guess it for free. Unordered? Yeah, tree set is a default natural sorting order of object collection. This is a DNSO. That means default natural sorting order. That's what the meaning of DNSO. We will be using this format. So what is the default natural sorting order? It's nothing but ascending order. Ascending order. However, we give the objects into this tree set. Tree set itself will arrange the elements in the default natural sorting order, which is nothing but ascending order. Here one question comes. For example, if our collection of data is nothing but some numbers. Like say if I am inserting some elements into this tree set in a certain format of 10, 1, 5, 4. Assume that this is the order. So then what will be tree set will do? What is the default natural sorting order? If this is the input as a programmer. So we are giving this order. Then what is the meaning of default natural sort order for numbers? 1, the tree set will store the elements in the natural sorting order, which is nothing but 1, 4, 5, 10. So this is nothing but the ascending order for this number kind of data. What about if the input is some string? All string objects only I'm taking into this. Then what is that it will? For example, if the input is some names, so I'm taking this input as only two names just to understand. So I'll take say James, and then I'll take Gosling. Yeah, and also I'll take Java. The third name I'm taking it as Java here. So assume that this is the programmer's input as a similar collection of data. Then what is the meaning of default natural sorting order for this? Ascending order. So it means which ascending order for this? It is a so first one Gosling, second followed by James, third one. Why? Because yeah, default natural sorting order for any characters or names is nothing but alphabetical order of the ASCII values. So out of this J and capital J, capital G and small j, which has least ASCII value? Capital letters ASCII values from 65 to 90 and small letters 97 to 122. So out of this small g will be having the least ASCII value. Therefore, that will be the first order. Then, sorry, capital G will have the least value. Then capital J will have the next second least, and the third one, sorry, second highest. Then small j will have the third highest. This is the meaning of default natural sorting order for the tree set of elements. Is it understood? Is this understood, please? What is the advantage of collections over arrays? Arrays has any predefined method support? No, there is no predefined support for arrays because of there is no internal data structure support. For collections, do we have data structure support or not? Then what is the data structure which supports asset, linked asset, and tree set? That's next point. These all are for your interview purpose. Might not be here during your mocks. Maybe once you go to real time. The first for hash set, the internal data structure support. Which is nothing but hash table. When it comes to linked hash set, the same point here. I'm using same color combination also for better understanding. The internal support is, for this, it's a hybrid kind of data structure support, which is hash table along with that linked list. For this tree set, because of no space, I am writing here. The internal data structure support for this tree set is nothing but balanced tree. So because of this internal support, why hash set elements will be in random order? Because of the data structure support called hash table. And why linked hash set will be in the ordered collection? That is nothing but because of the linked list concept along with the hash table. Then why tree set elements will be in the default natural sorting order? Because of this internal balanced tree data structure support. And one last point from my end before we go for the discussion of programs. So here, what is the meaning of this order collection? Which order? Insertion order. So however the programmer gives the values, then in the same way, those elements will be, or those objects will be stored in the collection. When it comes to hash set, null is allowed as a one-time value. And when it comes to linked hash set, null is also allowed. Null is also allowed only one time. When it comes to tree set, null is allowed, but till Java 1.6 version onward. That is from 1.0 to 1.6 version. this null is allowed as a programmer to give a object. But when it comes to Java 1.7, this adding this null value also is not at all allowed. That will throw the exception called as null pointer exception.